Welcome to Fullerton College Volleyball here on 90.1 KBPK. We're here live from Colleen Riley Court on the campus of Fullerton College as the Hornets host the Golden West Rustlers. My name is Jerry Roque alongside Garrett Geimer, Jacob Fisk, and Javier Guidon. Last Friday, the Hornets took on Saddleback and lost their match 3-0. And the Rustlers took on Irvine Valley College, losing to their match as well to the Lasers 3-0.
The key matchups for today for the Hornets: sophomore outside hitter Moretta Poe from Chula Vista. She's racked up 93 kills and will be a key factor to get the Hornets offense moving and set the tone offensively. Number 2, the sophomore defensive specialist Samantha Martinez here from Fullerton. Martinez has 122 digs and will be a key for the Hornets defense to keep the ball in play in order for the Hornets to keep the momentum their way. For the Rustlers, sophomore outside hitter and Adriana Morales. Morales has a total of 82 kills, averaging 3.4 kills per set, and will be the biggest offensive threat the Hornets will have to face in today's matchup. Also, freshman Leslie Cambray. She has a total of 15 blocks and 17 kills on the season, and will play a large part of keeping the Rustlers' defense in line.
Referees for today's matchup will be Armando Gonzalez, Nikki Resch, and on the lines today we have David Brown and Byron Benak. Starting lineups for today for the Golden West Rustlers, we have number 1, Macy Hendry as our outside hitter, number 2, Alyssa Ruiz, number 6, Adriana Morales, number 12, Leslie Cambray, number 15, Paige Phillips, 17, Olivia Robertson, number 18, Merritt Jost, and for the Fullerton College Hornets, your starting lineup: number 1, Corey Burke. Number 12, Samantha Martinez. 13, Moretta Poe. Number 18, Jade McIntyre. Number 19, Ann Mayfield. Number 22, Kaya Owens. Thank you for joining us here today one more time on 90.1 KBBK. Looks like we've got a pretty good matchup for today, Ryan. Both teams coming off of their 3-0 losses in their last matchups. What do you think are going to be some keys for today's game in order for these teams to secure a victory?
I looked at Fullerton to start fast and play their defensive game and just stay.
Fullerton College looking to get the ball over the net, but they will miss. Kaya Owens looking to get that ball over. Score will go over to the Rustlers. Rustlers up 4-0 in the beginning of this set. To serve, we have Paige Phillips for the Rustlers. Fullerton College looking to set it up, and they'll get their first point here.
Nice job by Poe to tap that one over for the first point for this Hornets team.
We'll get a quick substitution change here for the Hornets. Both teams looking to get a good conference match win here in the Orange Empire Conference. Serving for the Hornets, Elizabeth Perez. She'll send it over into the Rustlers defense and will not be able to find that ball.
Getting those quick scores.
Got to keep that momentum up. Serving again for the Hornets, Perez. Get it nice and up high. Martinez looking to set it up nice and high for Kaya Owens. And the block not being able to be made by Owens. Score will go over to the Rustlers. Rustlers making a couple of line changes here. It's number 4, Kate Griffin goes back to serve. Excuse me, Katie Griffin. Griffin will send the ball over to Martinez, setting up high for Mayfield. And that ball will go just inside of the line there.
Little communication looked like on the back end of that for the Hornets.
Griffin to serve once more. She'll send the ball far back over to Martinez. Mayfield setting it up once more. Over to Corey Burke. Mayfield one more time. It looks like they'll get a net violation. Point will go over to the Rustlers. Rustlers up 7-2 now in the first set.
I think that was Camila Castillo on the net violation.
Castillo, Martinez, and Perez set further back as they take the serve here. Martinez takes the serve nice and high over to Mayfield. But Burke not able to get that ball over the net. Point will be rewarded.
Looked like Mayfield didn't get it quite high enough for Burke to tap it over.
The timeout here will be taken by Fullerton College as they look to discuss over some of the key drives right now in this last play. Once again, I got those starting lineups here for Fullerton. We've got Corey Burke, Samantha Martinez, Moretta Poe, Jade McIntyre, and Ann Mayfield, as well as Kai Owens for the Hornets. Over from the Golden West side, we have Macy Hendry, Alyssa Ruiz, Adriana Morales, Leslie Cambray, Paige Phillips, and Olivia Robertson. Both teams looking to focus down here, try to get their game going. Griffin to serve once more for the Rustlers. As we get the starting buzzer from the timeout, Rustlers were served 8-2. Ball goes back over to Martinez. Perez will go into that back corner and Mayfield will send it up. As the Rustlers will shoot the ball just wide out of bounds.
Adrian Morales just
tipped off the fingers of the Hornets. Point will go over to the Rustlers. Griffin to serve. She'll send that ball back over to Castillo, who'll set it up for Mayfield. Back to Castillo, who'll pop it over into the pocket, but great dive there by the Rustlers. Castillo looking to strike back into the back corner. Setting it up nice and high. The Rustlers looking to go. Great defense going both ways, but the Rustlers will strike in the back corner.
Adrian Morales to put that one away and look for Golden West to continue going to her. She was an all-conference team a year ago.
As we mentioned earlier, one of the key players for the Rustlers, Adriana Morales, is going to be big front on the offensive side and the defensive side for the Rustlers. Hornets will have to make sure they keep an eye on them as Mayfield will get that outside score. The ball will go over to the Hornets' possession. Number 12, Samantha Martinez, will come back to serve for the Hornets as they trail 3-10 here in the first set. She'll send it into the center. Great dive there by Perez. Martinez with a save to get it over the net. And the Rustlers not able to get that ball over. Point will be rewarded over to the Hornets.
Looks like Ruiz was looking at Cambray, and Cambray back at Ruiz trying to figure out who was going to take that ball. Little miscommunication.
Martinez a little bit too much power on that serve. She'll send it over the line as the Rustlers maintain possession, get possession once more. Number 6, Adriana Morales to serve for the Rustlers. And Morales already being a very dominant person up front in the net as she serves over to the Hornets. Over to Perez, will set it up for Mayfield. Back over to Kaya Owens. Rustlers will set it back. Perez saves it. As we go back the other way, Camille Castillo able to get it over the net, but just off the fingertips of the Rustlers. And the Rustlers will send it over, just out of bounds. As Kaya Owens steps out. Number 16, Haley De La Riva will come back to serve for the Hornets. De La Riva giving her first serve of the day. She'll send it into the center for the Rustlers. Martinez over to Mayfield. As Jade McIntyre will give it a little touch. The Rustlers defense ready for it. And the Rustlers will try to set it up. Number 4, Kate Griffin, hitting it just too hard to the outside.
Just out, a little too much power on that one.
Like to see that, though. These girls are wanting to get these points. They're trying to get it in a good spot here. De La Riva will serve it once more and find a single serve ace there for the Hornets to close that lead from 7 to 11. Or excuse me, 11 to 7. De La Riva to serve. That ball will go into the back corner, but the Rustlers able to save it, send it back over the net. Mayfield will set up for Castillo. And the point will be rewarded over to the Rustlers.
Looks like it rolled off the hands of Ann Mayfield and
McIntyre there, yeah. Looks like they weren't able to really distinguish who could get that second hit in such a tight spot. Russ was able to capitalize on that play there. Back to serve number 2, Alyssa Ruiz for the Rustlers. And that point will go over to Ruiz, or sorry, excuse me, the Rustlers off of Ruiz's serve.
Mayfield was looking for the setup. The ball just didn't get there.
Sailed up a little too high on that one. Ruiz to serve once more. Ball will go high into the back corner. De La Riva and Martinez able to save it. Keep the ball moving. And a great spike there. Number 15, Paige Phillips for the Rustlers. Alyssa Ruiz to serve once more for the Rustlers. Ruiz will set into the far back left corner. De La Riva Martinez there to save. Castillo looking to get it over the net, set up something for the Hornets. And the ball sailing over to the table. Great catch by my technical producer here, Ryan. Glad to know he's going to keep us both safe here at the table.
Yep.
Looks like a timeout will be taken here. The score 15, Rustlers, Hornets 7 here in the first.
The Rustlers are doing a good job at keeping Fullerton on their toes. They haven't really gotten a good setup, and a couple of them have a little miscommunication fallen on their side.
Some team comparisons here up on the board as we see overall records. Golden West Rustlers 5-4 and our Hornets 5-8, facing a couple more matchups. Kills overall, the Rustlers have 256 in comparison to the Hornets at 442. Assists, the Rustlers have 254, Hornets 363. Over at Diggs, 343 for the Rustlers and 688 for the Hornets. Their attack percentages, 1.156 for the Rustlers and 0.9094 for the Hornets. As we come back here from the timeout. Alyssa Ruiz to serve once more for the Rustlers. Golden West not taking too far of a drive to get here, out from Huntington Beach. Martinez sets it up nice and high. Mayfield will go for the point, and she'll get it. Point for the Hornets. As we get a couple of substitutions here, Castillo coming out. Number 25, Tabon coming in. Elizabeth Perez stepping out as well. To serve. Tabon. She'll set it into that corner. Ball up nice and high. It'll touch the roof. Hornets looking to capitalize as Moretta Poe will send it into the back corner and get the point for the Hornets.
There we go. Set up nicely by Ann Mayfield. Looked like Golden West was anticipating McIntyre. Poe, point.
On to serve. And she'll miss it just wide in that back corner as it sails out of bounds. The point will go over to the Rustlers as they get a quick substitution change here. Number 17, Olivia Robertson, and 18, Merritt Jost coming back in for the Rustlers. Olivia Robertson to serve. She'll send it up nice and low, just barely get over to the net to Martinez, who will dive and get the dig to get the ball just over as the Hornets able to score once more and get the ball back in their hands. Back to serve for the Hornets, Jade McIntyre. Samantha Martinez will step out. Tabon, Mayfield, Owens, Moretta Poe, De La Riva out. McIntyre looking to set it up. The Rustlers Get that point there by number 1, Macy Hendry. Macy Hendry to serve for the Rustlers here. 17 serving 10 here in the first set. She'll send it into the back corner to Bond. Able to set it over. And the setup by Moretta Poe to get the point for the Hornets.
Grazed a few Golden West blockers in front. Good point by Fullerton. They're crawling back after starting a little slow.
Yeah, Rustlers there in a good defensive spot, but just off their fingertips as it'll slide out of bounds. Great power there by Moretta Poe. And Mayfield to serve. She'll set it into the center of the court. Going back the other way, the Rustlers will strike back. Number 6, Adriana Morales, puts up a point and regains the possession for the Rustlers. Back to serve, Paige Phillips. Paige Phillips, a sophomore out of Huntington Beach, will send it into the back corner. Great dive by Martinez. Moretta Poe looking to send it into the corner for a point, but sails it just out of bounds. Phillips to serve once more for the Rustlers. Rustlers have an 8-point lead here, 19-11 against the Hornets. Great touch there. Kaya Owens. Excuse me, Corey Burke. Rustlers setting up the ball high into the back corner. It's a great save by Martinez as she's able to dive. Moretta Poe looking to answer back. Both teams getting a little bit of energy going, and the Rustlers able to maintain that. Score will go over to the Rustlers. Number 12, Leslie Cambray, able to get that point.
Poked it right over the head of Corey Burks for the point for the Rustlers.
Phillips to serve once more. Sails it nice and high into the center of the court. Mayfield over to Owens. Rustlers looking to answer back, sending it deep into the corner, but Miley Taban able to answer, keep the ball alive. Moretta Poe, big strike, get the point over for the Hornets. So we had a quick line change here for the Hornets. Taban and Moretta Poe stepping out. Castillo and Perez coming back in. Perez to serve. Over to the Rustlers. Castillo looking to send it into the corner off of the roof for the Rustlers. Looks like a point will be rewarded over to the Hornets. Elizabeth Perez to serve for the Hornets. Tipped off the fingers on that last play. And Mayfield sets it up high for Castillo. Castillo able to get it over. Martinez sets it back up. Mayfield back over to Kaya Owens, number 22. Able to get that point there for the Hornets. That was a great setup there.
Nice set by Ann Mayfield.
Mayfield being one of the key setters here for the Hornets. She's getting a lot of ball touches today. Martinez as well, defensively taking a lot of the front for the team. And a great block there up front by Corey Burke. As she'll keep that possession for the Hornets, who are slowly starting to close this lead.
Great play by Corey Burks. Got up there, took the power out.
Perez able to keep that ball nice and low over the net. Martinez with the block. Excuse me. Ball up nice and high. Taban setting it over to Mayfield. We'll tap it on over to Burke. As the Rustlers recover, and the Rustlers not able to get a point, and they'll send it too far outside. Point will be rewarded to the Hornets.
Watch the battle between Morales and Samantha Martinez. They've been going back and forth.
Adriana Morales putting in a lot of power, but Martinez showing a lot of great control and taking all those shots and putting them in great spots for their setter, Mayfield, to keep the Hornets alive here in the first set. Point will be rewarded over to the Rustlers, who will build their lead 21-16. As we get a quick substitution change here for the Rustlers. Number 4, Katie Griffin coming back in to serve, as well as number 3, Ileana Galindo, outside hitter sophomore from West Covina. Katie Griffin, sophomore from Westland, Oregon, will serve. Kai Owens sending that ball over. The Rustlers able to defend it. Mayfield setting it up high, but not high enough, as Corey Burke was not able to get underneath that ball there. Point will go over to the Rustlers. Katie Griffin serving once more for the Rustlers. She'll send that ball deep into the corner where Martinez will set up for Ann Mayfield. Back over to Kaya Owens, who'll send it over the net. Great defensive front. But the ball just a little bit too hard there for the Rustlers.
Morales trying to attack that back left corner again. Just a little too much on that.
It seems like they've been going for that back left corner these past few attempts as well. Looks like they found a little bit of luck there, but just a little bit too much power on that. Once more into that back corner again.
Right back at it.
Just a hair too wide there as Martinez will come back to serve once more for the Hornets. Rustlers up 22-18 here in the first set. Kaya Owens, Jade McIntyre up on the net, able to score that point defensively.
Nice serve by Martinez on that one. Snuck it over the line.
Martinez to serve once more. They'll set that ball up high. Rustlers looking to get back into position here as the Hornets look to strike back as they send it into the back corner. Well, they'll get the point.
Jade McIntyre sneaking it in the back right corner with some power.
Score 22-20 as the Hornets fight to come back as they close this lead. Martinez to the serve once more. Alyssa Ruiz to set up nice and high. And the block going over to McIntyre once more.
And that's 5 straight points by this Fullerton Hornets volleyball team.
And this Hornets team looking to maintain that momentum going into the end of this first set. Score 22-21. McIntyre able to get 2 key saves, or key blocks there, excuse me, up on the net to keep the Hornets alive in this set. It's going to go back into the corner there. Number 6, Adriana Morales looking to get a point there. Morales able to score a point, but Martinez able to dive. But the Rustlers able to find a pocket there. A little bit of a miscommunication there. Number 12, Leslie Cambray for the Rustlers.
Castillo tried to sneak it over, but there were 2 blockers there. Great defense by the Rustlers.
Rustlers hoping to maintain this lead here, 23-21 in the first set. Back to serve, Adriana Morales, key player for the Rustlers today's matchup. Alyssa Ruiz will set it up high. 3, Liliana Galindo looking to get the ball, but the Hornets able to get the ball back over the net. Find a pocket.
Nice job by Ann Mayfield. Cause a little campfire over there for the Rustlers.
Coming back to serve, De La Riva, freshman out of Turlock, California. Looking to close this set out for the Hornets. Rustlers setting up nice and high off the net, and the point will be rewarded over to the Hornets. As we've tied this match 23-23. A little bit scary in the beginning, Garrett. Our Hornets looking at a little bit of a deficit.
Came out to an 8-2 lead, the Rustlers did.
The Hornets able to answer back and stay in this game.
And there's that much needed point by the Rustlers.
To serve for the Rustlers, Alyssa Ruiz, freshman out of La Habra. Both teams getting very, very chattery here as they start to communicate a little bit more. It seems as though each team is trying to talk over one or the other.
Right down to the wire.
An excellent touch there by Jade McIntyre, who will send that ball into the pocket to tie it back up 24-24 as we go into the match point here for the first set. So we'll get a quick substitution change in here.
Both teams very aggressive at the end of this first set. Hopefully we see that a lot moving forward.
Zabon serving for the Hornets. She'll send it into the back corner. Adriana Morales looking to strike. Tabon able to get it up. Mayfield setting it up over to Moretta Poe, who'll send it into the back corner, where the Rustlers will tip it off the fingertips. And the Hornets will secure that first set, 25-24. Oh, excuse me. Tabon to serve once more. She'll send it over to the Rustlers. She'll set it up nice and high. Looking to get that pocket. Moretta Poe over to Ann Mayfield. Back over to Poe. Nice, easy touch. The Rustlers were able to recover that. Rustlers will send it over to Bond, able to get the dive. And Mayfield to set it back over. De La Riva over to Mayfield. Back over to McIntyre. And McIntyre now will secure that point. There it is.
There it is.
Now the Hornets will secure their first set win here, 26-24. That was a great first set. Like I said earlier, the Hornets starting off a little soft, not being able to maintain that lead, but able to fight back towards the end there.
They were down 17-22 at one point. Fought all the way back.
I want to thank you once more for watching 90.1 KBPK.
This is Hornet Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK. This is Jacob Fisk alongside with Jerry Roque. As we get set for the second set, the Hornets taking the first set, or stealing the set, I should say.
Yeah.
Being down by at least 8 points for the majority of the set and coming back to win 26-24.
If we take over a look over to the Hornets huddle over there, head coach really trying to drive in some of their key points and maintaining this possession here. The Hornets able to answer back. A little bit of a shaky start, but they were able to double down, get their communication right, and start to get a little bit of momentum their way. And they were able to hold on to it up until the very, very last point.
And I think one of the key players that I had noticed from that match, or first set, is what do you think of Samantha Martinez? She's been diving all over the court, keeping that ball alive, and I think without her, they wouldn't be able to be in this position.
Yeah, and Adriana Morales over here for the Rustlers really trying to dig that ball, or really trying to kill that ball into that corner. But Martinez and Tabon as well, able to hold that fort down for the defensive front. For the Hornets, as you know, they're able to keep possession of that ball, get great control, get it up nice and high for Mayfield, who's been able to get a lot of assists here on their sets over to Moretta Poe and Camille Castillo up in the line. Overall, great work there by the Hornets, able to recover as we get started here in the second set.
Well, here we go as we get set for the second set. Looks like the players that are going to be on for the Rustlers is going to be Morales, Yost, Phillips, Ruiz, and Hendry. While on the Hornets side, it's no surprise they're going to see Mayfield back on the court, as well as Tabon.
Samantha Martinez as well.
Poe and...
Looks like that's De La Riva and Corey Burke up at the front.
Yeah, Corey Burke had a huge first set there, especially towards the end. Lots of huge blocks.
Yeah, Corey Burke and Jade McIntyre over towards the end of that first set, able to get two really key blocks in order to keep the Hornets' possession there.
Well, Hendry's going to start us off with a serve for the first set, or second set, as the Hornets get the first point of the second set, riding on that momentum. And we're gonna see how the Hornets do. They had a rough start, but what do you think they're going to have to do to keep that momentum for the second set?
I think the main thing here is playing defense. I felt like in the beginning, they kind of started to lose a little bit of track on communication, body positioning, and all that. So I think that'll be really key for the start of this second set here.
Well, here we go. Rustlers going in on the attack. Diving dig made by the Hornets, but it goes right into the net. able to keep that ball alive for just a moment was Ann Mayfield, but unfortunately goes right into the net. So now it's going to be a side out with Rustlers taking possession of the serve.
And Ann Mayfield was really good to be able to get that ball nice and low, pop it back up, but just too close to the net there for Moretta Poe to set it up into play.
Phillips gets the ball in play, gets kept up in the air by Martinez, gets sent down low and gets slammed down by the Hornets as it's another side out.
Kaya Owens there with the point, able to find a pocket there in the Rustlers defense.
So now we got Elizabeth Perez on the serve here. Hits it to the back row, it gets kept up with a bump set by Ruiz, gets tapped and kept alive by Perez, hit over the net. Rustlers back on the attack, but we have a 2-touch violation against the Hornets.
Adriana Morales with a lot of power behind that hit, but Perez able to hold it down. A little bit surprised by that initial hit, but able to put it back into play for Mayfield to send it over.
Perez with the serve again, hits it low, kept up by Hendry. Gets tapped by the Hornets. Hornets with the chance to go on the attack, hits the top of the net, kept up in the air by Hendry.
Back over to Adriana Morales.
With a huge slam that goes off the hands of the Hornets and into the net.
Kaya Owens in a great defensive spot there, but the power from Adriana Morales just too much for the Hornets to handle up on the net.
So now we're going to go to Katie Griffin, who is tied for 8th in the conference for most assists for the Rustlers, 38 assists. As that one just catches the line on the serve. So Griffin's going to go back on the serve. But like I said, tied 8th in the conference for Orange Empire games so far, 38 assists. So big impact so far in this season, and she's going to try to get this back in, get her team back in the game. Tapped over the net by the Hornets. Gets set over to Adriana Morales, hits the hands of the Hornets and goes out of bounds, keeping a rally going for Griffin to stay on the serve.
Like I said earlier, Morales with that big power on those kills, trying to keep the momentum going for the Rustlers here.
Griffin with another serve to the back row, kept up in the air by Martinez. Tapped over the net, kept alive by Ruiz. Another slam down, but it goes out of bounds. It's too much power by Leslie Cambray.
Katie Griffin there up on the net for the Rustlers, looking to keep that point there, but just sends it a little bit too far wide into that back corner.
Samantha Martinez now on the serve with 15 service aces so far. As that one actually hits the floor, a little too low for the Rustlers to handle.
Great touch there by Martinez, able to get it just over the net and find that pocket on the ground there.
So in the entire conference, she is tied for 13th for most service aces, and she's going to try to keep that streak going here. As another great serve hits the roof after the receive made by Ruiz. Another attack by the Hornets, hits the top of the net to slow down the momentum, giving the Rustlers a chance to take advantage as Morales once again slams it down to tie this set up at 5 each.
Castillo and Jade McIntyre up on the net there for the Hornets, looking to defend it. You know, it's really scary. Some of these balls get up nice and high and end up actually touching the roof, which, as you can see by some of the players here on your screen, they'll actually, you know, change their foot stance to try to accommodate for that ball, as they don't really know where it might play off the roof. But both teams here looking to be real familiar with the court. Just out of bounds there as Adriana Morales will try to dive, but unsuccessful. Hornets will maintain possession here.
So now the Hornets are going to have their La Riva now up to serve. Jump floater to the left side. Rustlers coming in on the attack. Another slam down, but it gets blocked away by McIntyre. Another chance blocked again by McIntyre once again with a touch. Here comes the Hornets trying to dump it over the net. Was Mayfield, but it gets denied. Rustlers now back on the attack, and they say it was in on the outside.
Leslie Cambray up against the net for the Rustlers, able to keep the ball in possession here. She gets some great touches for the Rustlers. They will tie back up 6-6.
Alyssa Ruiz now up to serve for the Rustlers. Hits the roof once again with too much power, unable to keep it alive with Samantha Martinez.
A great dive there by Martinez to try to get it up, but like I said earlier, when it gets off of that roof, it there's no telling where it's going to bounce off to. That momentum on the ball and the spin can bounce it in either direction. So these teams got to really watch out for those high balls there and make sure they play them to their favor.
Ruiz serving once again, hits it to the back row. Bumps set over to the outside, going for a hit. Hits the top of the net. They say it was touched by the Rustlers, so it's a
point for the Hornets there. Castillo, she's able to find the pocket.
So now we're all tied up at 7 each in the second set. Hornets took the first set 26-24 after a huge comeback, trying to make it 2-0 in the number of sets as they're going to try to keep riding that momentum all the way to the end. Meanwhile, here comes the Rustlers trying to go in for the attack. It's going to be a net violation as Macy Hendry for the Rustlers touched the net on that attack.
Macy Hendry getting up nice and high for that ball, but just not able to get it over the net. She'll get that net violation and keep the Hornets in possession.
Grace Taban once again going in on the serve. Going to be set over to the right side. Gets kept alive by Martinez. On the outside, hits the hands of the Rustlers. A one-hand dig made by Morales, but instead it's going to be out of bounds.
A great touch there by Moretta Poe to get up nice and high, find some power in that shot, and send it over to the Rustlers defense. Morales not able to control that. She sends it over into the net.
Hornets once again, Taban on the serve. Trying to slam it down. It gets past the block of Mayfield.
Great kill there by Paige Phillips.
So now it's a side out now, so Rustlers will regain possession. Robertson now going to be serving. Robertson with 8 service aces so far this season. Coming back on the attack, hits the hands but kept alive, trying to dump it back over the net. Mayfield keeps it alive with a bump set, tapped over by Mayfield, or excuse me,
Martinez there. Martinez made a pretty big executive decision to try to jump around the court there, but able to keep it in play. So Hornets will get possession here once more.
McIntyre on the serve after scoring on that last point on the serve. Hits it nice and low. Going back on the attack. Hits the hands of McIntyre, but too much power made by the Rustlers as the ball goes towards the Hornets bench.
Number 15, Paige Phillips. Nailing that ball into the corner. Hornets not able to control that.
Macy Hendry back on the serve now as she comes in. Floater into the middle of the court. Going to be dumped over the net by both teams there for a moment. Set back to the outside. Hits the top of the net, slows down the momentum.
Moretta Poe with the kill there. She slams the ball into the center of the Rustlers defense. So get a quick substitution in here. De La Riva steps out. Kaya Owen comes in.
Would you consider the ball hitting the top of the net as a little bit of a changeup for the other team's defense?
I think so. I mean, when that ball just sails over the net and gets a little touch, if they can get the right amount of power on it and just the right enough distance on it, that ball will sail over, maybe affect it enough for the defense to have to counter back and think twice about where they're setting up.
Meanwhile, we have 4 touches here against the Hornets. So Rustlers will score on that play. Phillips on the serve. Gets received by Taban. Going for a spike here by Moretta Poe. Slams it down to the middle of the court. Side out now. Hornets take possession as we get more substitutions made by the Hornets.
Moretta Poe being a really, really big key factor here on offense for the Hornets. She blasts that into the corner. Seems as though that lower left corner seems to be the favorite spot here on the court.
Perez on the serve, hits it a little bit too far out of bounds on the back line. As now we have more substitutions made by the Rustlers. Katie Griffin now coming in for the serve. 12-10 in favor of the Hornets in the second set. Hornets leading the number of sets 1-0, 26-24 from the first set. Hornets trying to hang on to their lead here as we have a little stoppage here by the officials. Trying to confirm the players that just got substituted. Now it's 12-11 for the Hornets.
Quick score update appears as well.
Katie Griffin now coming in, hits it into the net. So
That looked a little scary there, Jacob. Like I said earlier, when that ball just gets over the net, that one looked like if it had tipped over the top of the net, might have stopped dead in its tracks and fallen straight down, where none of the Hornets defense was able to defend that. But luckily, a little too low.
Samantha Martinez has been deadly on the serve so far as she's serving for the Hornets right now. As that ball gets tipped away by Elizabeth Perez off her hands and goes out of bounds.
Perez a little bit unsure whether or not to take it, sticks her hand out, but just manages to graze it with her finger. Coach looks over at her and says, maybe next time we'll leave that one. You know, see if we can get that point.
Adriana Morales now on the serve. She currently has 11 service aces, leading on the team prior to tonight. Gets kept alive by the Hornets as they just tap it over with Castillo. Rustlers going in on the attack, gets tapped away by the Hornets.
Both teams getting loud here.
As it gets dumped over the net by the Rustlers. So now this is going to tie this set up at 13 each.
Adriana Morales to serve once more for the Rustlers.
Gets hit over the net, gets kept alive by Perez, slams it down.
Jade McIntyre blasting that ball into the back court, able to keep it in bounds. Score for the Hornets there.
Lots of power by her so far tonight, and honestly, I would be afraid to try to get in front of that.
There's no way that I would ever attempt, even in practice, you know, when they're not fully warmed up and they're just getting loose, no way in chance I would step in front of that ball. If I step in front of that, I'm getting my head chopped off.
Haley De La Riva hits the ball into the net on the serve. So it's a side out. Ruiz now going to come in for the serve.
Both teams playing very, very old school volleyball here, really trying to set up each shot precisely. McIntyre will get the point once more as she blasts that ball into the defense. But the Rustlers not able to keep it over the net. Or excuse me, not able to get it back over the net as it'll fall onto their side. Point over to the Hornets.
Grace Teban now to serve for the Hornets. 15-14 second set. Floats it into the middle of the court. Bumped by Ruiz. Set over, but gets denied by the Hornets. Or excuse me, 4 touches against the Rustlers.
Moretta Poe and Jade McIntyre, the defensive front there at the net, able to get up nice and high and keep that ball from coming over their side of the turf.
Teban now up for the serve. Set over to the left side, gets hit away by Macy Hendry.
Great dive there by Teban.
Dumped over the net once again by the Hornets, trying to surprise the Rustlers, but it's not going to work as it's a free ball for the Rustlers to once again get the side out.
Looked like in that back corner, Martinez and Teban were almost set up, but just a little bit of a miscommunication there in order to find out who was getting the ball, and the Rustlers able to find a little pocket of freedom, get that ball in.
Robertson now on the serve. So gets set over, trying to go cross court, gets saved by Hendry, trying to tap it over the double block by the Hornets, gets denied. As it's too much to handle for Macy Hendry.
And Moretta Poe going back to that corner, so excuse me, across court once more, able to catch her off guard, able to get that point. I think she saw it the first time, said this might work if I go for it again, and able to catch the Rustlers off guard.
McIntyre now on the serve. Gets set. Hornets now on a counterattack, trying to hit it, gets through the block, but gets dug away by Robertson as it has to get hit back over the net. It's a chance ball here for the Hornets, trying to hit it through the block. They do. It's Moretta Poe once again to grow their lead to 18-15 in the second set. As it makes you wonder, what are the Rustlers going to have to do to get this game back in their favor?
Moretta Poe striking that ball down. So much power. She's been a really, really big front here for the Hornets offense.
Ball gets tapped over by Yost. Chance attack here for the Hornets. They do. Moretta Poe with some power once again, but kept alive by Ruiz. Tapped over the net by the Rustlers. Hornets coming in back on a counterattack. Gets tapped away by the Rustlers front row. Goes off the hands of the Hornets as they finally slam it down.
Corey Burke able to find that pocket in the back corner.
So now it's 19-15 as we're closing in on the second set here. The pressure is now on for the Rustlers as Mayfield hits the ball into the net.
Mayfield looking to keep that momentum going for the Hornets, but just not able to get that ball over the net.
Macy Hendry now coming in for the Rustlers serve, trying to keep their team in this second set. As it gets tapped over the net made by Moretta Poe. As a spike goes right into the net by Maret Yost. As the Hornets are the first team to 20 points in the second set, as they're 5 points away from taking the first two sets. As it's quite a surprise as we look back to the first set. The Hornets had a slow start, actually being down 10-2, 15-7, and now they won the first set, and now they're closing in on the second set.
Yeah, the Hornets are really trying to capitalize on a lot of these mistakes here by the Rustlers, and it looks like they're trying to keep that momentum their way. Hopefully they'll be able to close this out as they have a 4-point lead here in the second set.
So now we have a timeout by the Rustlers here. They're going to try to slow this momentum down.
Hornets sideline looking a little pumped that they're taking a timeout there, trying to kill that momentum the other way.
So timeout was taken by Golden West Rustlers. We're in the second set. Hornets took the first set 26-24. In the second set, the score is currently 20-16 in favor of the Hornets. You are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK. As we're going to see if the Hornets can find a way to close out this set, or if the Rustlers are going to find a way to steal back the second set after dropping the first one.
And the Rustlers did have great momentum coming into that start. They were really, really strong on the offensive end, great communication on the defensive line, able to maintain that ball, getting those blocks and keep that possession in hand. But slowly but surely, the Hornets starting to chip away at that block and able to get that lead back in the first. Able to hold it the entire way for the second so far.
Well, the Rustlers head coach, Bill Lawler, who was the assistant coach of the United States junior national team that competed at the World Championships in Canada. They finished 8th in the world when he was coaching them. What do you think he's telling his Rustlers right now to do to close out the second set?
I think the biggest thing that they're talking about right now is communication, keeping the ball in their favor, and stopping the attacks by Hornets. The Hornets are able to find a lot of these pockets that the Rustlers are leaving open. So I think the most important thing here will be to maintain their possession and make sure they capitalize on the Hornets.
Morales hits the ball over the net to keep it alive, but it's a chance attack here. Too much for the Rustlers to handle as it goes off the hands of Macy Hendry. Hornets trying to close in on the second set, 4 points away from taking it 2-0.
Kai Owens slamming that ball down into that corner, asserting her dominance, saying, hey, we're here to finish this out. So we get a quick whistle. It went eerily quiet there. Could hear a pin drop.
Well, lots of pressure on both teams here. This could decide the set right here if Ann Mayfield can continue this momentum. Trying to make this game out of the grasp of the Rustlers. Gets kept alive by Ruiz on that receive. Chance attack here now for the Hornets coming in. A delayed attack there to try to throw the timing off the Rustlers. Doesn't work, but here comes another chance by the Hornets.
Kai Owens looking to get a score there.
As it gets slammed down by Macy Hendry. It's a side out, and this is a huge side out here for the Rustlers as 21-17 in favor of the Hornets, but now you got Paige Phillips up for the serve for the Rustlers.
Paige Phillips has been really dominant for the Rustlers here. She's been really great up front defensively, holding down the line, getting up nice and high, and also setting up some great kills there earlier in this first set.
Both teams struggling to get the ball over the net. Burke had to just hit it over, but Rustlers weren't able to control it, so they just hit it underneath the net. So now it's 22-17 in favor of the Hornets.
We'll get a quick line change from both teams.
Moretta Poe up to serve. It's a floater, a little too much to handle for the Rustlers as Macy Hendry tries to dive for it but was unable to do so.
Moretta Poe able to find that pocket in the center there. We'll see if she goes for it again. Seems to be working.
Moretta Poe up for the serve once again. 2 points away from taking the second set and taking a 2-0 lead. But of course, as we know in this sport, no lead is safe.
No, no. I mean, when you're constantly attacking every single set, every single one, I mean, the score's going to change quick.
Moretta Poe with another ace as it goes off the hands of Alyssa Ruiz. It's set point now for the Hornets with a 7-point deficit in favor.
And there's that pocket again. Moretta Poe seems to keep finding. We'll see if she goes for it again to close out the set here.
Pressure on the Rustlers now, but that one goes right into the net by Moretta Poe. So a chance to breathe now for the Rustlers.
Head coach Neil Lafar saying, shake it off. It's okay. It's all right to laugh. We'll get it back. They've got a sizable lead here. Now it's just up to the Hornets defense to keep it that way. Get that ball back for one more point to close out this set.
And of all the people to have, it's Katie Griffin leading the team in service aces, who has to score at least 6 points to keep their team in this set. They're saying it's a point for the Hornets here, which means that's going to end the second set, excuse me. So now the Hornets take a 2-0 lead. The pressure now on the Rustlers. They have to reverse sweep if they want to win this match.
Off that slam from Castillo as well. I want to thank you one more time for watching us here on 90.1 KBPK.
This is Hornets Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK. I am with Jacob Fisk and myself, Javier Hiron, as we're getting ready to take on the third set here in Fullerton College Volleyball.
So the set score here is So the set score here is 2-0 in favor of the Hornets here. First set, if you guys are just tuning in, Hornets were down by 8 points for the majority of the first set, being down 10-2 and 15-7, but found a way to crawl back and win it 26-24, with McIntyre getting the set winner. Then for the second set, a little bit back and forth, but this time the Hornets a little bit more comfortable of a win, 25-18 in the second set. So as we get set for the third set here, pressure's all on the Rustlers here, as we're going to see if the Rustlers have the chance to switch over the momentum back in their favor.
All right, so number 13, Corey Poe. Moretta Poe is starting at outside hitter. Corey, number 1 for middle blocker. 22 with Kaya Owens. I believe.
So as we get set for the third set here, we're going to have once again Grace Tabon back on the court alongside with Kaya Owens, Jade McIntyre, and Mayfield once again coming back as well. While on the Rustlers side, not much has changed. We have Alyssa Ruiz back on. Adriana Morales. Alyssa Ruiz. Macy Hendry. And Cassie Flores for the Rustlers as we get set for the third set, potential final set here, as we're going to have Ann Mayfield starting off the third set as we are underway for the third set. Hornets up 2-0. Can they close out this match? Gets tapped into the net though by Moretta Poe, so the Rustlers will open up the scoring for the third set.
Yep. What I've saw from Poe, she has excellent versatility. She is ready. She is a dangerous player. She's a dual threat if you allow her to be.
So now coming in on the serve is going to be Hannah Scholes. As she's coming in to serve. It's a floater, hits the top of the net. It's a service ace off the top of the net to double their lead to 2-0. Throws the momentum off the Hornets.
I have a feeling that timeout did something to this Hornets team.
So Hannah Scholes will serve once again after that one hit the top of the net. It's another floater, gets kept up by Martinez, coming in on the outside, hits the hands of the Rustlers, but unable to control it. So it's a side out, Hornets take advantage. As we have some substitutions being made, Elizabeth Perez coming in to take the ball to serve. She currently has 2 service aces in this season so far. The freshman looking to start a rally here for the Hornets. Little discussion here between the coaches of the Rustlers, Bill Lawler, and the officials, but we are back underway with the action as that one gets sailed over the back line by Elizabeth Perez. So now it's 3-1 in favor of the Rustlers in the third set. Katie Griffin now up to serve. She has 2 aces, tied for 25th in the conference for most service aces for conference games, while 11 service aces season overall, tied for 25th in the conference. Gets bumped in the air by Martinez. Coming in to slam it down was Corey Burke, as the Hornets bench is going wild.
Yeah, Corey, to be honest, she's a really good versatile player. I've seen she's had so many digs throughout this entire season. And, sorry, my apologies, kills. But she's truly been a great impact for this team.
Hornets coming in on the attack, hits the hands of Leslie Cambray. Another attack made by the Hornets. It's a diving dig made by Elizabeth Perez, and that one gets denied by the Rustlers. It's now 4-2 in favor of the Rustlers. Adriana Morales is coming in for the serve. She has 6 service aces so far this season. As she comes in for another serve for the Rustlers. Gets kept alive by the Hornets. Coming in on the attack. Hits the top of the net. Rustlers now coming in, trying to slam it. Gets off the hands of Jade McIntyre. A counterattack is hit out of bounds, made by Camille Castillo. As it's now 5-2 for the Rustlers. Rustlers trying to get back into this match after being down 2-0, especially that heartbreak in the first set. Adriana Morales now on the serve. Gets tapped in the air, almost lost control by Elizabeth Perez. Gets tapped over the net though by Castillo. As that one gets hit, barely catches the back line. Rustlers take advantage, making it 6-2.
So far, this team is looking pretty good. The Rustlers looking to try to make a comeback bit by bit, creeping into this 2-0 set.
Adriana Morales with the floater. Not able to control it was the Hornets. Used their fist to lob that ball just in front of the net. She's been incredible on this service rally so far for the Rustlers in the third set. Morales again, that one is a little too low as it goes right into the middle of the net. So it's a side out now. As we're not gonna see Haley Riva coming in to serve for the Hornets, trying to get them back into the third set. Riva now hits it into the middle of the court. Gets denied away with a huge block by McIntyre. Martinez having to dive to keep it alive, as that one was just too much for the Rustlers to handle there. We had everything there. We had a dug by Martinez, and then a little bit of a slam down by the Hornets to make it 7-4 in favor of the Rustlers.
They're trying to come back bit by bit.
Riva now on the serve. Hits the hands of the Hornets. It's a chance attack here for the Hornets. Coming in, it gets hit, and it stays in bounds by Camille Castillo to shorten that point deficit to 2 points. Haley De La Riva now up to serve once again for the Hornets. Cross-court serve. Received by Macy Hendry. Gets denied away by McIntyre on the attack. Rustlers hit it over cross-court. Another attack made by Castillo with a soft attack. Punched over the net by the Rustlers. A dump made now by Ann Mayfield. Trying to slow things down was the Rustlers as they finally get the point scored by the Rustlers. A little bit of chaos, changing the pace, going from fast to slow. And finally, the Rustlers end up with it.
This team is truly trying to come back, trying to go fast-paced or either at a slow, steady pace, just to creep back into this lead and take the set from under Fullerton's nose.
Alyssa Ruiz now up for the serve for the Rustlers. Martinez with the receive. Set over to McIntyre. Gets denied away, though, by Phillips, but finally tapped over the net a double touch against the Rustlers. Or the Hornets, excuse me. So Alyssa Ruiz now going to serve for the Rustlers once again. As it's 9-5 in favor of the Rustlers in the third set. Mishandle receive made by De La Riva. Martinez having to dive for it just to keep the play alive as it gets spiked into the net by Ileana Galindo. Martinez just diving all over the place from set 1 to set 3.
She is truly going to be an important part for this Fullerton College to win in this matchup.
Hornets coming in on the serve once again. Grace Tabon for the Hornets on the serve as it gets slammed down once again by Paige Phillips. So it's now 10-6 for the Rustlers, trying to make this match back, or trying to get this match momentum back to the Rustlers, but this time they got to hold on to it or this match is over. McIntyre on the attack. For a side out now for the Hornets, as McIntyre, who just scored, is now going to be behind the baseline for the serve. Received well by Ruiz, and it gets hit too far out of bounds by Paige Phillips to cut that deficit to 2 points as McIntyre goes back on the serve.
If Fullerton can make the Rustlers commit these same mistakes, I don't see why Fullerton wouldn't win.
Meanwhile, Jade McIntyre hit the ball a little bit too far past the baseline or back line. So now it's going to be a side out for Macy Hendry to get the serve. 11-8 in the third set. We'll see if Hendry can get a rally going for her team with the float serve, as the Rariva had to go down low on the court to keep that play alive. Ball gets spiked into the net by the Rustlers from Adriana Morales. So now it's 11-9 in favor of the Rustlers. And who else? Ann Mayfield back on the serve for the Hornets. She has 7 service aces before coming into tonight, with another low serve mishandled by Macy Hendry, as she's been deadly on the serve all season long.
She's truly, I've been doing some research on her, and she's truly a very versatile and dangerous player. As a freshman, she's making a name for herself so far.
And Mayfield hits it low, gets kept alive by Ruiz, goes back over the net, trying to tap it down low. Was Moretta Poe, but it's 4 touches anyways against the Rustlers, but the coach is trying to say that it was touched by the Hornets before it went over the net, which would be illegal. But the officials are going to stand by their call, and now it's tied up at 11. Mayfield on the serve. Gets tapped over the net by Phillips. Another tap over the net made by Moretta Poe. 4 touches against the Hornets as the Rustlers regain the lead to make it 12-11. Another substitution made by the Rustlers. So Hannah Scholes will come in for the serve. As let's see how the outside hitter freshman will do on this next serve here, trying to grow their lead here in the 3rd set. Put a little spin on that serve, coming in. Hornets coming in on the attack, hit too far out of bounds by the Hornets. So the freshman will come back behind the baseline and continue to serve, as Hannah Schultz now trying to keep the attack up for the Rustlers. Hits it down the middle. Martinez there to receive it. Gets slammed down once again by Corey Burke. As we have more substitutions being made by the Hornets. 13-12 in the 3rd set. Hornets took the 1st set 26-24 with McIntyre finishing it. Hornets won the 2nd set 25-18 in the 2nd set. And now they're going to try to close out this 3rd set with a clean sweep. That one gets denied by the double block made by Corey Burke to tie this set up at 13, as we are now getting into the crunch time here in the 3rd set. Perez on the serve. Rustlers hits it right into the net. So now the Hornets take the lead for the first time in a long time in the 3rd set, 14-13. Keeping Perez back behind the baseline for another serve. Perez with a cross court. It hits the hands of Alyssa Ruiz. I believe I heard one of the players saying it was going to go out, but instead it gets hit off her hands and into the floor, as a timeout is going to be called against the Rustlers. So the Rustlers call timeout. We're in the 3rd set. Hornets are up 15-13. You are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK. As we take a look at the Fullerton Hornets' upcoming schedule, on the 5th, they are going to be taking on against Santa Ana College. Well, they're going to be taking on Santiago Canyon College on the 7th. And on the 12th, they're going to be taking on Irvine Valley College, while on the 19th of October, they're going to be taking on the Cypress Chargers in a rematch. I actually did an interview last week with Samantha Martinez, and she said that's the match they are looking forward to. We're going to see if they can get a little bit of payback here on home court. Well, on October 21st, they're going to be taking on against River City College once again. They won that match last week, 3-1 after dropping the 1st set. So as we now get set for the 3rd set once again, the score is 15-13 in favor of the Hornets. Serving for the Hornets is going to be Elizabeth Perez, as we are now out of the first timeout for the Rustlers in the 3rd set. Here we go once again. Big serve made by Perez. A little bit of a difficulty to handle for the Rustlers to handle as that one gets hit right into the net by the sophomore Casey Flores. 16-13 in favor of the Hornets. Elizabeth Perez on the serve once again. It's a bump serve. Gets tapped in the air. Rustlers trying to spike it recklessly, but Adriana Morales hits it right into the net as that lead is going to keep growing for the Hornets. As we have a substitution being made by the Rustlers, Katie Griffin coming in, as well as Ileana Galindo. Both sophomores trying to slow this thing down as it's starting to get away from the Rustlers here. But for now, Perez just hit the ball past the back line of the Rustlers. So an out-of-bounds serve is going to be a side out. 17-14 Hornets lead, but now the Rustlers have the ball in the hand of Katie Griffin, to get this third set back in favor here. She has, once again, 11 service aces before coming into tonight. She is leading the team in service aces, so it's a deadly person to have on the serve. Ball gets tapped over the net by the Hornets. Counterattack made by the Rustlers, gets kept alive with a dig by Perez, but it goes out of bounds. So that point deficit drops down to 1 point as it's now 17-16. Or excuse me, it's 17-15. With the best server for the Rustlers still behind the baseline. Martinez on the receive, but it goes towards the audience and gets kept alive by Corey Burke. Another attack gets hit off the hands of the Hornets defense as Leslie Cambray slams it home down the middle. It's a 1-point game in the third set.
This team is trying to get back good by Samantha, our libero. She's trying mostly all she can, but with Jade and Corey in the front, making these shots, I see no problem with her in college.
Meanwhile, Kaya Owens, the sophomore for the Hornets, just hit it into the net on the outside. So we're all tied up at 17. First team to get 8 points and win by 2 is going to be the winner. Griffin is going to continue serving here. The best server for the Rustlers so far, but finally it's a side out, which is what the Hornets needed. Camille Castillo gets the side out and a big one to get the ball away from the best server for Golden West. And who else is behind the baseline now for the Hornets? It's Samantha Martinez. Hits it low, it gets barely kept alive on the receive by Alyssa Ruiz, but instead they couldn't follow up on it. As it's now 19-17, 6 points away for the Hornets to get a clean sweep, 3-0. But we're not out of this just yet. Martinez on the serve once again behind the baseline, but that time she mishandled the toss as it goes into the net.
This team is truly trying to get back into this, but right now, as Golden West, they have their very dangerous and versatile player.
Adriana Morales now on the serve. Received well by Martinez once again. Attack made by the Hornets with Castillo trying to slam it down. Instead, it's too much, or it's easy to handle for a moment by the Rustlers, but instead they couldn't follow up on the attack after hitting it into the net with 4 touches. So it's now 20-18 in favor of the Hornets. Haley de la Riva on the serve now, coming in. Cross-court serve, received by Macy Hendry. Macy Hendry now hits it, but it's out of bounds. It's 21-18, 4 points away from a clean sweep. As the Hornets are trying to wrap this match up right now here. As it's another timeout, their final timeout of the set, made by the Rustlers. As Bill Lawler is going to try to get this game to slow down. Timeout taken by Golden West Rustlers. We are in the third set. The score is 21-18 in the third set. You are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK. As we have former assistant for United States, or excuse me, former assistant coach for the United States Junior National Team, Bill Lawler, trying to slow this game down as we are reaching the crunch time of the third set. What do you think the Rustlers are going to have to do to get this game back into their favor?
I'm going to say try to add your versatile player, which is going to be Adriana Morales. She had so many kills this season. But I'm going to say add her back into the front, get her a little more involved, and you should be set.
Well, as it gets set over by De La Riva, as it's going to be an attack by Macy Hendry, gets controlled away by the Hornets. Huge attack made by Castillo. Rustlers trying to slam it over. It's a dump made by Ann Mayfield. Martinez with a touch receive. Tapped over the net by Camille Castillo. She's been on fire on the left side so far in this third set, as it's 22-18 in the third set. No timeouts left for the Rustlers, so they are going to have to hang on here if they want to keep this match alive. They have to score 7 points, so in the set, they get one right there after a service error made by Haley De La Riva. So now it's 22-19. 2 timeouts still for the Hornets if they need it, but so far they don't look like they need it. So Alyssa Ruiz now going to try to get a rally going here. She currently has 10 service aces, the second most on Golden West College. Bumped away by Martinez. Trying to get slammed over the net. It's 4 touches because it hit the net and went back to the Hornets side. So it's now a 2-point deficit here in the third set. Alyssa Ruiz, the freshman, is going to stay behind that baseline on the serve here, as she's going to be trying to go for the corner. They say it was in on the line. So it's now 22-21. Timeout taken by the Hornets, their first of the set. This is the third set. Hornets leading 2-0, winning the first set 26-24, with McIntyre ending the first set. Then they won the second set comfortably 25-18. This set, in the third set, it's 22-21 in favor of the Hornets. You are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK. As it's going to be Coach Mojab for the Hornets calling timeout. She was born in Shiraz, Iran, raised in Tehran. She was actually the youngest athlete in the history of Iran track and field to join the national track and field team. She was only 14 years old. Some volleyball information about Coach Mojab. She was invited to the Iran's national volleyball team at 19 years old and played for 2 consecutive years. So she has a lot of experience here to try to control her team and try to close out the third and potentially final set. But Alyssa Ruiz, the freshman, is going to try to say, not so fast. Ruiz with the nice serve. Gets kept alive by the Hornets, almost going into the crowd, as it gets hit over by Haley De La Riva, as that makes the Hornets bench go crazy. They are 2 points away from sweeping the Rustlers. And once again, folks, there are no timeouts left for Golden West College, so they can't slow this down. The momentum heavily in favor of the Hornets. Maylee Grace Taban on the serve.
They got to keep that momentum going.
Gets received well by Macy Hendry. He gets slammed down by Paige Phillips, 23-22. As a huge side out made by the Rustlers to make this set a little bit more interesting. As Olivia Robertson is going to be coming in for the serve. She has 8 service aces. Another deadly server for the Rustlers. Received well by the Hornets, coming in to slam it down, and it gets past the block by Jade McIntyre. Who else would you expect to come in clutch? It's match point here for the Hornets. If they score the next point, it is game over.
Looks like coach is trying to end this game with Corey inside the front line.
McIntyre on the serve. It gets kept alive by Ruiz. They hit it. It's too long. It's over. Game, set, and match. The Hornets win 25-22 in the third and final set. They sweep Golden West College on home court here. And a huge win here for the Hornets as they now go 2 wins, 2 losses in the Orange Empire Conference. So this has been Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK.